Onward then, and all set for the final chukker to Kidsgrove. Just 6 locks, though depending on what the mooring situation is as I approach Kidsgrove, I may or may not do them all. Of course, I won't be going through Harecastle Tunnel today. Aha! Another closed lake.
Country house gent, and I gone bought myself a little boat. Oh, I'm country house gent, and I gone bought myself a narrowboat. Sold everything I ever owned and swapped it all for a life afloat. That's right.
Well, that's a nice start. I have assistance on this one. Not moving. Well, there must be something shallow in that centre sort of line. Yeah, got grounded in the middle. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I imagine due to the lack of use of the one lock, it's not been producing the usual current that will clear all the silt and so on from out of the middle. And of course, typically you wouldn't be crossing the middle. Well, that was a bit of excitement to start the morning. As I say, 6 locks to Kidsgrove, and of course the start of the Harecastle Tunnel. But it's a Sunday, so I'm looking to find somewhere to moor up for the next 4 or 5 days and produce the next episode. This is good to see. A lot busier today. Maybe even the busiest of the year so far. this rate, I'm going to be at Kidsgrove in time for tiffin, whenever that is. This is lock 44, 3 more to go, and according to my guidebook there's a service point down there, so I think I will fill up the water tank again. That's 3 down. And is that service point still here? Sure is. This is the famous Red Bull services then, eh? I don't think that's anything to do with the caffeinated sugar water. Setting off towards the next lock, and I just realised I could have gone and just opened the lock before I untied. Oh well, so I've got to tie up again. A grand distance of about 20 feet. I must remember to take my stove chimney off, mainly before I go into Harecastle Tunnel, and also fit my short stack exhaust. A few people there sat by the canal enjoying a couple of cold frothy ones, mate. I don't particularly fancy mooring up along here, even though there are moorings, because there's a sewage works. I'm told by a viewer that I met down at Red Bull Services back there that there are some nice moorings after this lock. And that will leave the one lock to Kidsgrove right before the tunnel. You do have to keep an eye on this side current business from these little overflows, especially when you're doing it one-handed whilst holding a camera. Phew. Ah, well, that wasn't so bad, was it? You don't have to go to the gym doing this. Yep, and as promised, there are the moorings. This very first one, I think, past these trees. And that'll do me for today. Could have asked for a better one than this. And I'm asked on occasion, what are my main criteria for picking a mooring? And there's 4, or is it 5? Oh, I don't know. Firstly, as with a house, it's location, location, location. The next thing I look at is the mooring edge and the means of mooring. As I've said before, Armco is my bag, man. I always try to avoid mooring near sudden tight spots, because all I'll be doing is making a bottleneck even worse. Finally, I always prefer somewhere that's quiet and remote, so that I can run my generator, and that you're less likely to encounter unusual people, but also within reasonable walking distance of a shop. That'll do me for today. I'm Country House Gent, but I'm all right now. Good afternoon. Yes, it is the following Saturday. A great stop here in the woods about a quarter mile outside Kidderminster. An excellent place to spend a week. Now, I had intended to stay here another week, as it's so nice, and perhaps even have an entire weekend doing nothing. However, I discovered about an hour ago that there's no water point between here and the south side of Harecastle Tunnel. So it's time to move on. What a wonderful spot. Incredible to think we're less than a quarter of a mile from the outskirts of Kidderminster. I haven't really ventured that far from the boat all week, merely just down the towpath to the 2 supermarkets. There's a Lidl right next to the canal, and a little further up the road there's a Tesco, and just as importantly, a petrol station. Besides that, there's not a lot else. In fact, very little sign that this was once a bustling industrial area. Just the occasional old building. And of course the canal itself. Just bumped into Trev from Trev's Travels. Not far this afternoon, just about half a mile or so down to the meeting point at the northern end of Harecastle Tunnel. where I'll stay overnight and then go through the tunnel in the morning. If you're ready to go between 8 and 12, you don't have to book. You just have to wait your turn to go, as traffic in the tunnel is one way. Alright.
What have you got in there then?
1952 Petter McLaren.
McLaren?
Yeah, marinized by J.H. McLaren. They used to make steam traction engines. I do like meeting people who are... Oh, no! Oh, well, that was a low bridge. A very low bridge. And through the tunnel, I'm going to be fitting my stubby exhaust and removing the Morso chimney. Well, that is the last lock before Harecastle Tunnel. And the good news is that afterwards, even though the stretch of canal is longer than it has been from Middlewich to Harecastle, there's less locks and they're all downhill. The climb is over. Here on the right is the junction for the Macclesfield Canal, which I had intended doing. That was until I looked on the map and realised that eventually it joins up with the Peak District canals and then the Huddersfield Narrow, which Aslan can't do because she's too deep. And of course there's the other issue, that it heads back north. And if I could do the Huddersfield Narrow, I would ultimately end up back where I started, on the Bridgewater Canal. On the left here is a caravan and boater chandlers and service area, which used to sell Calagas, but has now changed to flow gas, and also used to sell diesel. I popped in there the other day just to make sure that they had some, and was told that they're not allowed to sell it anymore, as red diesel has been outlawed for boaters, which is just plain wrong. Agriculture, commercial and leisure boating have been given a reprieve, and we're still able to buy red diesel, and with the tax split, a certain percentage for heating and a certain percentage for propulsion. That's not to say that the basic underlying price of diesel hasn't risen. First time I went round the canal system, you were paying between 70 and 80p a litre. Now it's about 150 to 160 a litre. Quite a few viewers have asked, will boating be affected by the red diesel change? And the simple answer is, there is no change. For now. That's me all set then for 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock? Why not say push your bike? Then it would be a push bike. Or is the word push now considered an aggressive term? I don't know. I get confused. Harecastle Tunnel, around about 1.6 miles, or 2,528 metres. This hanging wooden profile indicates the lowest point in the tunnel, and is the main reason I've removed my stove chimney and will be fitting my stubby exhaust. A major unpleasant part of Harecastle Tunnel is that heading south, the doors at the southern end are closed, so that the extractor fans create a massive vacuum and suck all the fumes out, meaning there's no light at the end of the tunnel to aim towards. This here is the second tunnel, built by Thomas Telford, because the first tunnel, built by James Brindley, collapsed. This here is the source of the much heated iron ore seepage debate, and most believe this is the culprit. Well, I'm going to throw a firework into the mix and say I don't think it is, because this water is clear compared to the Telford Tunnel, which is bright orange. Well, I've lost subscribers over less. I've enjoyed your otherwise excellent series right from the beginning, until you had to bring up the iron ore discoloration debate. Unsubscribed. Well, good morning. Contrary to what I used to believe, there is such a thing as an 8 o'clock. The stubby exhaust makes an appearance. I've checked the tunnel light and the horn. Well, we're underway, and for some strange reason I've drawn the short straw. I'm leading. Not much in the way of headroom. Oh wow, this is the first time ever that I've gone into a tunnel and I can't see the end at all. They've asked me to keep the pace up. That's as quick as I'm going. Not as dark as I thought it was going to be, because I have the light of the boat behind. By now the fans are running at the other end and they create an incredible vacuum. All the fumes from Aslan are flying forwards. Absolutely nothing behind. Quite incredible. The only downside, for me at least, is that I'm getting all the fumes of the boats behind me. Just past the 500-yard marker, 2,600 and something in total, so only 2,100 and whatever to go. A total of 1.6 miles. one of the low bits coming up. And my mistake, the markers are in meters, not in yards. We just passed the 1100 meter mark. Lower still, getting lower. This is basically because the tunnel has subsided over the years. The slightly worrying thing is, it's still steadily subsiding. My God, this is low. Wow, this is low. Ooh, it's getting even lower. How long before this tunnel is no longer navigable? What are they going to do then? That flashing red light is the GoPro, by the way. Oh dear, here comes one of the wet bits. There is water rushing in. Well, whilst we're in this strange dark place, a place that can cause all manner of reactions to all manner of people, depending on how you handle such things. If you're claustrophobic, I don't recommend going through Harecastle Tunnel. I'm not claustrophobic myself, but I can imagine what it must be like. But a little cheery story, just to pass the time. Naturally, this tunnel is believed to be haunted by a headless woman that wanders up and down the tunnel. I imagine she feels like a polar bear trapped in a tiny cage, backwards and forwards. Why do I have to walk through the tunnel? Why? Why do I have to walk through the tunnel? I'm beginning to hear the fans. They've suddenly made an appearance. These things apparently are big. And they have their own fan housing, which was built not long after diesel engines were first installed on canal boats. I can just make out through the fog a barely perceptible crack of light, which must be a gap in the doors. There's someone stood there waiting, I think, to open the doors. Oh, fans are off. Oh, it's still daytime. Wow, wow, wow. It's an experience. Yeah, better keep the fans going, mate.
Sorry, I'm putting back on because it's so smoky in there.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, I couldn't see you for ages. I was like that constantly.
It's done. Right, so that's where I need to be. Well, one boat's just gone in northbound on its own. Doors closed and the fans turned on. Just taking on water, and then the plan is to moor up just down there. That red boat will be going off through the tunnel in about an hour, so I can go in that spot. This here is the southern end of the first Harecastle Tunnel, the James Brindley Special. When they said it had subsided and was no longer navigable, I didn't realise just how much it had subsided. It wasn't very wide, was it? That must have been an experience, especially legging it through. That's me all done then. Nice sunny spot here. Here, turned out nice, isn't it? Right, it's a Sunday. It's now, I don't know, what 11 o'clock? No idea. Good spot here, so I think I'm going to take tomorrow off. Ooh, a day off. Yes! Nah. After about 3 hours of sitting in my chair, watching some videos and drinking several cups of tea, I realised that I didn't want to spend today doing exactly the same. No, I don't really fancy it. I've been up in plenty of those, installing industrial doors in a previous life,